In 2006, they said the two-stroke was finished, dirty, outdated, a relic that didn't belong in the water anymore. So the industry pivoted. Today, four-stroke engines control over 60% of the market, a $6 billion empire built on one promise: cleaner, quieter, better. But here's what they didn't tell you. Four-stroke maintenance runs $700 every 100 hours. That's $7,000 before you hit your first 1,000 hours. Meanwhile, the engine they buried, the two-stroke they called obsolete, some models run 300 hours between services. And mechanics, the ones who see these engines at their worst, are quietly recommending them to their own families. We pulled service records, we interviewed technicians with over 400 years of combined experience, and what they confessed will make you question everything the dealership ever told you. One technology cost nearly 50% more to maintain. The other one, 2004 EPA Clean Air Award, then disappeared from the market. So which one actually survives 1,000 hours of real-world punishment? Before you drop $20, $40, maybe $60,000 on your next outboard, you deserve the truth. Here's my question for you. Drop a comment right now. Which engine is on your transom? And has it lived up to what they promised? If you're serious about protecting your investment, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because we don't do marketing fluff here, we do the truth the industry hopes you never find. Let's get into it. To understand where we are today, we need to go back to the moment everything changed. The year was 2006. The Environmental Protection Agency had just implemented strict new emission standards for marine outboards, and the target was clear: traditional carbureted two-stroke engines. These were the workhorses that had powered American boating for more than half a century. Your father ran one, your grandfather probably did too. They were loud, they smoked, and they were about to become illegal. The numbers were damning. The EPA's new standards demanded a 75% reduction in hydrocarbon emissions. For the old technology, compliance was impossible. By 2010, virtually every major manufacturer had discontinued traditional two-stroke production for the American market. Yamaha stopped. Mercury pivoted. Honda and Suzuki doubled down on what they already knew best. The message to dealers was unanimous: the two-stroke era was over. And so began the Great Migration. Four-stroke technology was cleaner, quieter, and far easier to certify against the new regulations. The marketing machines roared to life with promises that still echo through every boat show and dealership today. Whisper quiet operation, 50% better fuel economy, longer engine life, zero smoke, zero guilt. The only responsible choice for serious boaters. Within 5 years, four-stroke engines went from holding roughly 30% of the American outboard market to dominating over 85%. It was one of the fastest technological shifts the marine industry had ever seen. Dealers were trained accordingly. One 30-year Mercury dealer from Tampa remembers the transition clearly. The training sessions left no room for ambiguity. Sales staff were instructed to stop showing customers two strokes entirely. If someone asked, the answer was simple: four-stroke is the only option for anyone who takes boating seriously. The price premiums followed. By 2015, buyers were paying 15 to 25% more for four-stroke power, and they accepted it. The justification seemed reasonable enough. You would make it back in fuel savings and longevity. Marine financing terms extended to accommodate the higher costs. Everyone believed the investment made sense. But here is what the glossy brochures and enthusiastic salesmen conveniently forgot to mention. While traditional carbureted two-strokes were being regulated out of existence, a new generation of two-stroke technology was quietly being born. Direct fuel injection two-strokes met every single EPA standard. They matched four-stroke fuel economy in real-world testing, and they kept the power-to-weight advantages that had made two-strokes legendary in the first place. Evinrude launched E-Tech technology in 2003. Mercury had already introduced Optimax in 1996 and continued refining it through 2018. Yamaha developed HPDI for specialized applications. These were not your grandfather's smoky, oil-burning relics. The Evinrude E-Tech became the first outboard engine technology in history to win the EPA's Clean Air Excellence Award in 2004. According to EPA testing data, E-Tech engines produced 30 to 50% lower carbon monoxide emissions than comparable four-strokes. At idle, the difference was even more dramatic, with with E-Tech producing 50 to 100 times less carbon monoxide than four-stroke alternatives. But the industry had already chosen its narrative. The billions had been invested. The factories had been retooled. And for most buyers walking into dealerships across America, the marketing story became the only truth they would ever hear. Two-stroke was dead. Four-stroke was the future. We believed it. We bought it. We mounted shiny new four-strokes on our transoms and felt responsible doing so. For the first few hundred hours, everything seemed perfect. But engines do not reveal their true character on a sea trial or a weekend trip to the sandbar. They reveal it after 1,000 hours of hard use. The service bay does not lie. It cannot be edited like a brochure or rehearsed like a sales pitch. When an engine rolls in with 1,000 hours on the meter, it tells a story that no marketing department would ever approve. And after pulling maintenance records from service centers across Florida, Texas, and the Great Lakes, the story we found was not the one most boat owners expected. Let us start with four-stroke maintenance, because this is where the first shock arrives. At the 1,000-hour mark, four-stroke outboards require service that would stun most owners who bought into the low-maintenance promise. We are talking about valve adjustments, timing chain inspections, multi-quart oil changes every 100 hours, and cooling system services that can keep a certified technician busy for 4 to 6 hours at a time. The average 100-hour service on a four-stroke engine in the 150 to 300 horsepower range runs between $450 and $650. That adds up. By the time you reach 1,000 hours, you are looking at a major service bill somewhere between $1,800 and $30, and that is assuming nothing has gone wrong along the way. One Florida mechanic with 35 years of experience put it bluntly. "Four strokes are good engines," he said, but owners do not understand what they are signing up for. He sees customers come in at 800 hours who have never done a valve adjustment. They are genuinely shocked when he tells them their engine needs $2,000 in deferred maintenance. They thought low maintenance meant no maintenance. It does not. Then there is the weight penalty that nobody mentions at the dealership. A 300 horsepower four-stroke outboard weighs between 550 and 600 pounds. The same power output in a direct fuel injection two-stroke comes in around 480 to 520 pounds. That 80-pound difference might not sound significant until you are trying to plane a loaded bay boat in shallow water, or you calculate how that extra weight affects your fuel burn across a decade of fishing trips and family outings. Now consider the direct fuel injection two-strokes that survived the regulatory purge. These engines do not have valves. They do not have timing chains. They do not have camshafts. Every mechanic we interviewed repeated the same fundamental truth. Fewer moving parts means fewer things that can fail. The service intervals tell the story. Where four strokes demand attention every 100 hours, many DFI two-strokes like the Evinrude E-Tech were designed to run 300 hours between scheduled maintenance. The average 100-hour equivalent service cost on a DFI two-stroke in the same power range runs between $180 and $350. The 1,000-hour major service typically falls between $800 and $1,400. A Louisiana mechanic with 28 years on the water shared something remarkable. He has E-Tech customers running 2,500 hours on original powerheads. Original. That represents 10 years of hard charter fishing with nothing but regular maintenance and basic care. He challenged us to find a four-stroke that could claim the same record without a major repair bill appearing somewhere along the journey. And what about that legendary fuel economy advantage that justified all those premium prices? The industry claimed four strokes delivered 50% better mileage. Real-world data tells a different story. At cruise speeds, where most recreational boaters actually operate, the difference shrinks to 10 or 15%. At wide-open throttle, some DFI two-strokes actually matched or beat their four-stroke counterparts gallon for gallon. The gap that was supposed to pay for itself over time turned out to be far narrower than the sales pitch suggested. Neither technology is perfect. Both have failure patterns that emerge over extended use. But the critical difference is not which engine breaks. All engines eventually break. The difference is what it costs to fix them and how long you wait for parts. There is a moment every boat owner eventually faces: the day you decide to sell. And on that day, the used market delivers a verdict that no salesman ever warned you about. We analyzed over 2,300 used engine listings across Boat Trader, Facebook Marketplace, and regional dealers. The patterns we discovered challenged the conventional wisdom that has guided purchasing decisions for nearly 2 decades. Four-stroke outboards command premium prices when they are new. That much is undeniable. In years 1 through 3, they retain 70 to 80% of their value, exactly what you would expect from a major purchase. Years 4 through 7 see retention drop to 45 to 55%, standard depreciation by any measure. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Four-stroke engines with 1,000 or more hours on the clock are routinely listed at 30 to 40% of their original price. Buyers hesitate. The complexity concerns them. The potential maintenance costs frighten them. Too many moving parts. Too many things that could go wrong. The very sophistication that was marketed as an advantage becomes a liability when ownership changes hands. Direct fuel injection 2-strokes tell a completely different story. Despite being discontinued, despite every prediction that they would become worthless orphans, E-Tech and Optimax engines with documented maintenance histories are commanding premium prices on the secondary market. Clean E-Tech G2 models from 2015 to 2020 are selling at 60 to 75% of their original price regardless of hours logged. Optimax engines from 2018 with 800 or more hours are fetching more than some 2022 four-strokes with half the runtime. Certain discontinued configurations have achieved what collectors call unicorn status, actually selling above their original manufacturer-suggested retail price. A boat broker in Texas summed up the market reality in simple terms. He can sell a clean E-Tech in 48 hours. Four-strokes with high hours sit for months. Buyers do the math. They understand what the maintenance costs will be. They know what they are getting into. Of course, the elephant in the room is what happened on May 27, 2020. That was the day BRP announced they were discontinuing the Evinrude brand immediately. No gradual wind down, no transition period. No warning. The news hit like a shockwave. Overnight, hundreds of thousands of E-Tech owners faced an uncertain future. Panic selling drove some E-Tech prices down 40% within weeks. Parts hoarding began among dealers and owners who feared the worst. Online forums flooded with desperate questions about what to do next. But then something remarkable happened over the following years. BRP committed to 10 years of parts support. Independent suppliers stepped in to manufacture critical components. A network of specialized E-Tech mechanics emerged, technicians who saw opportunity where others saw obsolescence. Rebuilders began offering powerhead services at competitive rates. Owner communities started sharing maintenance knowledge freely, creating a collective wisdom that no manufacturer could have replicated. The market responded. Prices stabilized, then climbed. Today, E-Tech parts availability sits at 90 to 5% or higher for common service items. What was supposed to be a death sentence became something else entirely. Proven E-Techs are now viewed as a known quantity, engines with documented track records and understood maintenance needs. The uncertainty that once surrounded them has shifted to questions about the future of four-stroke technology itself as electric propulsion looms on the horizon. Without a Michigan mechanic who specializes in E-Tech rebuilds reflected on the transformation. He has rebuilt more E-Tech powerheads in the last 3 years than he did in the previous 5 combined. Owners realized these engines are worth saving. They are not disposable. They are not obsolete. They are simply orphaned. And orphans, he noted, can still run forever if you take care of them. If the economics between these two technologies are this close, a reasonable person might ask why the industry pushed so hard in one direction. The answer has very little to do with engineering excellence. It has everything to do with something far more profitable. Four-stroke outboards contain approximately 40% more components than equivalent two-strokes. More parts means more opportunities for proprietary designs. More proprietary designs means more captive service revenue flowing back to manufacturers and their authorized dealer networks. The engine itself becomes the beginning of a revenue stream, not the end of one. Every valve adjustment, every timing chain inspection, every specialized tool required for service represents ongoing income that a simpler engine design simply cannot generate. Meeting EPA emission standards with a four-stroke is engineering by template. Every automobile manufacturer in the world has done it for decades. The research and development costs are predictable. The testing protocols are well established. Global regulatory alignment is straightforward because four-stroke automotive technology transfers readily to marine applications. Direct fuel injection two-stroke certification requires genuine innovation. Innovation is expensive, innovation is risky, and innovation does not always produce the quarterly earnings growth that shareholders demand. There is also the global market calculation. European and Asian markets never developed the same two-stroke boating culture that flourished in North America. Building one engine platform that works everywhere simplified manufacturing enormously. It reduced inventory complexity. It maximized economies of scale. A single four-stroke product line serving multiple continents makes more financial sense than maintaining separate technologies for different regional preferences. An industry insider who spoke on condition of anonymity confirmed what many suspected. The decision to phase out two strokes was not made in the engineering department. It was made in the boardroom. Four strokes are not necessarily better for customers. They are better for quarterly earnings reports. Walk into any marine dealership and observe where the real money flows. It is not on the showroom floor. It is in the service bays behind it. The average dealer markup on a new engine runs between 15 and 20%. Respectable, but not exceptional. The average dealer margin on service labor runs between 65 and 75%. Parts margins hover between 40 and 55%. Four-stroke engines with their complex annual service requirements translate directly into higher labor-hour billings and more parts moving through the system. One dealer with 25 years in the business shared something he had never said publicly before. When customers came in asking about E-Techs, his salespeople were trained to redirect them. Not because E-Techs were bad engines, they were excellent engines, but they did not need the dealership. An E-Tech owner could handle oil system maintenance in his own driveway with basic tools. A four-stroke owner booked service appointments for the next decade. Corporate made it clear which customer they wanted walking out the door. The real tragedy of this entire debate is not that one technology is superior and the other is flawed. Both work. Both have loyal defenders among professional mechanics who see them at their best and worst. The tragedy is that millions of buyers made five-figure decisions based on marketing narratives rather than engineering facts. Online boating communities became echo chambers where four-stroke superiority was treated as unquestionable truth. Voices suggesting otherwise were dismissed as brand fanatics or technological dinosaurs clinging to the past. We found that 73% of boat buyers we surveyed had never consulted an independent marine mechanic before making their purchase. They relied on salespeople with inventory targets, manufacturer websites with obvious bias, and forum consensus shaped by the same incomplete information. They never thought to ask the one group of people who see both technologies fail, the technicians who fix them. While we debate compression ratios and fuel economy percentages, a new force is gathering on the horizon. Electric outboards are no longer a distant fantasy. Mercury launched its Aviatory electric line in 2023. Torqeedo continues expanding its North American presence. Venture-backed challengers like Pure Watercraft and Vision Marine are pushing boundaries that seemed impossible a decade ago. Current battery density limits practical applications to under 50 horsepower equivalent, but the technology is advancing faster than most industry observers predicted. By 2035, electric propulsion could represent 30% or more of the outboard market in certain segments. The two-stroke versus four-stroke debate may become as relevant as asking whether to buy a carburetor or fuel injection. Both could become legacy technologies within a single ownership cycle. If you are purchasing an outboard today with plans to keep it for 10 years, you are not simply buying performance. You are buying into a technology ecosystem that may or may not have robust support when you need it most. That uncertainty should sound familiar to anyone who watched the Evinrude discontinuation unfold. So after everything we have examined, the data, the testimonies, the market analysis, what should you actually do? The answer depends entirely on questions only you can answer. Choose four-stroke if your marina requires it due to noise or emission regulations. Choose four-stroke if you prioritize the quietest possible operation above all else. Choose it if you prefer manufacturer-supported simplicity and have no interest in learning your engine. Choose it if your use case involves extended trolling at low RPM where four strokes genuinely excel. Choose it if you plan to sell within 5 years in suburban recreational markets where four-stroke bias remains strong. Choose it if you have easy access to authorized dealer service and budget comfortably for scheduled maintenance. Choose direct fuel injection 2-stroke if power-to-weight ratio is critical for your application. Shallow water boats and performance hulls benefit enormously from reduced transom weight. Choose it if you are comfortable working with independent mechanics or performing basic maintenance yourself. Choose it if you value mechanical simplicity and the ability to understand what is happening inside your engine. Choose it if you can source a documented, well-maintained used unit from a knowledgeable seller. Choose it if you understand the parts and support landscape and have realistic expectations. Choose it if you are buying for long-term ownership of 7 years or more and want to minimize total cost over that horizon. Choose neither technology blindly. The worst decision is not picking the wrong engine type. The worst decision is picking any engine based on forum wisdom, dealer recommendations, or manufacturer marketing without understanding your specific use case, your maintenance commitment, and your ownership timeline. We asked every mechanic we interviewed the same question: what would you put on your own boat? The answers split almost evenly, not by brand loyalty, but by application. Shallow water guides chose 2 strokes, offshore cruisers chose 4 strokes. Commercial operators chose whatever they could service themselves with available parts, and every single one of them said the same thing about the opposite choice. That works too. One mechanic with 40 years of Florida experience offered the final word. In 4 decades, he has seen carburetors come and go. He has seen fuel injection transform the industry. He has watched 2 strokes get banned and reborn and discontinued again. You know what actually kills engines? Neglect. You know what saves them? Maintenance. The best engine in the world is the one you understand, service regularly, and run with respect. Everything else is just conversation. The truth after 1,000 hours is not that one technology wins. The truth is that the marine industry told a story that served its interests more than yours. Now you know what the mechanics know. What you do with that knowledge is up to you.